Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm gonna explain how to solve the maximum length of subarray with positive product problem on Leetcode. So let's take a look at this problem. So it says given an array of integers nums, find the maximum length of a subarray where the product of all its elements is positive. A subarray of an array is a consecutive sequence of 0 or more values taken out of that array. Return the maximum length of a subarray with positive product. Okay, so let's look at the example. So given 1, minus 2, minus 3, 4, we should output 4 because we can do all of them. So I think the trick of this question is we need to know how many negative numbers in the in the array. So, and in the subarray that with the maximum length, you can only have the even numbers of negatives, and you cannot have zeros. So what the algorithm that I want to show you now is we're gonna loop through like the array, going from the first one to the position y is 0. And if we see the 0, we stop and we calculate the max, and then we start over after the 0. So we're going to do in multiple chunks if there's 0 in between in the array. And then when we see negative, what we want to do is we check, we push in the index of the negative numbers. And because we know that the negative numbers in the subarray, it could either be even or odd. If it's even, we know that that subarray is good, that we can use that as a max. But if it's odd number, we need to know should we go like get rid of the first negative number or the last negative number to get the maximum length. So we get rid of one of them because we want to make it even. So let's look at the code and see how it actually works. So I start with creating the max, the global max to be returned at the end. And then I create a getMax function that's gonna get I and j, which is the start and end of the subarray. And then the negatives contain the index of the negative numbers. So if we get j less than I, that means somehow j, the end is coming before the start, we return 0 because it doesn't make any sense, so we just return 0. So and then if check the length, this length is the length of negatives numbers. So if it's mod 2 equal to 0, that means it's an even. So we know that we can just do j minus I plus 1. So if you look at this example, what we're going to do is we get 1 to 4, and then I is 0, j is 3 right here. And we get minus 2 minus 3, so the length of negatives is going to be 2. So 2 mod 2 equals to 0. So we can just do the j minus I and then plus 1 because we want inclusive. So 3 minus 1 is minus 0 is 3 plus 1 is 4. So the answer is 4. And if it's an odd number, what we want to do is first calculate j minus negative 0. That means the 0 index. No, not 0 index. The first negative numbers, right? So we want to know how long is the subarray from negative numbers, the first negative number to the end. So in that subarray, we're going to have the even number of negative numbers. And then we do the before the last negative numbers here, minus I, because we want to exclude these negative numbers. So we use that index minus I. We don't need to plus 1 because we don't want the negative number 1. So we add 1 here because we want to include everything. We don't want to add plus 1 here because we don't need this negative numbers. So, and then we just return the max of this two sides, which one is greater. Cool. So if we move on to the for loop below here, so we're going to loop from the start to the end. And if number is, we get the num, and if num is 0, we stop and calculate the max, right? You can see here, I just try to get the max and then compare it with the max here. So we can get max and then do start and I minus 1 because I is 0 right now. We want to do start to the index before 0 and then the negatives. If it's less than 0, we just push to negatives. Also, after we got max, we reset the negatives to the empty array, and then we increment the start to the next index. So start equal to I minus 1 because we want the start to be after the 0 that we found. The problem with this one is that the last number that we don't have 0 at the end, we might not get to here. So what I need to do is do the calculation again right here. And then I, so that's why I define I here. The other way is to add 0 to the end of nums. And then you can just let the loop run, and we don't need this one. And then at the end, we just return the max. Let's try submitting the code. So now, as you see, it's very fast, it's 96%. And then it's used a lot of memory, I think, because I use the negatives array and pushing things into there. So this algorithm is going to be just big O of n, because you just get into the get max and get max just do the calculation, no loop here that you can see. And this is just a one loop through all the items. And yeah, and memory complexity also, and you can push because the negatives that you keep pushing, so it can grow based on n. So the maximum you can use n because you can push a lot, all of them, if all of them are negatives. So hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and like this video. If you want to know anything, drop me a question down below in the comments. I will answer it immediately. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.